Dear Jay, there are people we lose because they were never meant for us. And then there are people we lose because we weren't ready for the love they gave us. You were the second. The first time I saw you on campus, you had come to visit a friend. But somehow, you walked into my story instead. I was in my second year, trying my best to look composed while secretly stealing glances at the most handsome man I had ever seen. You weren't just attractive. There was something about the way you carried yourself. Quiet confidence, intelligence, kindness. The kind of presence that made a room feel smaller, because somehow, you were all I could notice. A few times, I caught you looking at me too. Or maybe I only hoped you were. I was too shy to find out. So I admired you from a distance and convinced myself that was where the story would end. But a few days later, you walked straight up to me. Can I have your number? I don't remember breathing. I typed my number into your phone with trembling hands. Then you called it immediately, waited for my phone to ring, smiled, and said, "Now save mine." You walked away with a wink. I stood there wondering if my feet were still touching the ground. From that day, we spoke almost every day. Phone calls became late-night conversations. Late-night conversations became friendship. Friendship quietly became love. 6 months later, we met again at an event. There was a bonfire that night, but we wandered away from the crowd for a walk. Halfway through, you stopped. You looked at me with eyes that held both certainty and hope. Then you asked, "Will you be my girl?" There wasn't a single part of me that wanted to say no. So I said yes. You smiled, wrapped your arms around me, and in that moment, I thought I had found home. But sometimes, the hardest thing isn't finding love. It's believing you deserve it. 3 months into our relationship, I became afraid. Not because you changed, not because you stopped loving me, but because you loved me so deeply that I didn't know what to do with it. Looking back now, it sounds absurd. Who walks away because they're loved too well? Someone who is too young to understand that healthy love can feel unfamiliar. So, I left. You never understood why. The painful part is, neither did I. And somehow, you remained my friend. You never stopped caring. 2 years later, you asked me one more time. This time, I believed I had grown. So I said yes, again. Because if I was being honest, I had never stopped loving you. You were everything I thought I wanted in a future husband. Brilliant, hardworking, a man of faith, an entrepreneur with dreams bigger than himself, the kind of man who made ordinary days unforgettable. You once spent an entire afternoon following me around the market because you knew I couldn't bargain. One trader became so annoyed at how well you negotiated that he insulted you. You only laughed. Saving me a little money mattered more than protecting your pride. That was you, always choosing me. Then you introduced me to your family. They welcomed me before they truly knew me. For the first time, I didn't just imagine a future. I could see it. I could almost hear children's laughter filling a home we hadn't built yet. And then, fear visited me again. This time, it wore ambition. You dreamed about building businesses across the world. I admired your vision, but instead of telling you what frightened me, instead of saying, "I'm afraid we'll lose each other while you're chasing your dreams," instead of asking, "Can we build a life where both our dreams matter?" I said, nothing. I created answers to questions I never asked. I assumed a future we had never discussed. And once again, I walked away. I didn't lose you because we stopped loving each other. I lost you because I chose silence over conversation. You were devastated. You said things your pain made you say. Later, you apologized. Years have passed since then. Life has moved on. We're no longer strangers, but we're no longer us either. One day, you told me something I'll never forget. You said, "You'll always be my first love, but I can't risk loving someone who broke me twice." I didn't argue, because you were right. If I'm honest, there are still days I wonder what our life would have looked like. Would our children have your smile? Would we have laughed through difficult seasons instead of facing them apart? Would we have discovered that the conversations I was too afraid to have could have saved everything? I'll never know. What I do know is this: not every love story ends because love runs out. Sometimes it ends because fear is louder than honesty. Because assumptions replace conversations. Because we leave before giving love the chance to grow. If I could go back, I wouldn't promise us a perfect relationship. No relationship is. But I would choose the uncomfortable conversation over the comfortable goodbye. Because some mistakes don't break your heart overnight. They echo quietly for years. I hope life has been kind to you, Jay. Thank you for loving me with a love I didn't know how to receive. And I'm sorry that I learned its value only after I had already let it go. Love always, 𝗓𝗍. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching, turn on your notifications so you never miss a new episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your circle. Until next time, take care.